Welcome back to the program. One of the things we talk about here a lot lately is cryptocurrency. And the reason is it's becoming more mainstream every single day. It's not such a mystery anymore. It's being purchased by mainstream companies, by governments, including the U.S. government, Arizona, North Carolina, and me. I own cryptocurrency. Why wouldn't I? Joining me is Jonathan Rose. He's the CEO of BlockTrust IRA. And Jonathan, so good to have you back on the program.
Thank you for having me back on, Steve. Pleasure to be here.
And when I say mainstream, we were just talking here a moment ago, pharmaceutical companies, Harvard, the Trump Organization, all of these mainstream entities are gobbling up crypto. Why is that?
Yeah, it's a great question, because when you see the Harvard Endowment Fund, $218 million purchase of Bitcoin, President Trump's social media company, $2 billion. The list goes on and on. And I think what people are beginning to realize that cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, is the future of money. And you can look at this list and even see biotech companies, publicly traded companies on the stock exchange, buying Bitcoin and creating their own US Treasury like President Trump did for our nation. And then the question becomes, well, why would a biotech company be buying Bitcoin? And the simple answer to that is because of the shareholders. And when you look at these publicly traded companies and they have surplus of cash, instead of parking that cash now in bonds, they're actually purchasing Bitcoin, because over the past 10 years, Bitcoin has averaged 29+% a year. So you could have a publicly traded company that maybe has a losing year, but they're going to offset those losses by the fact they have a US Treasury for themselves of Bitcoin that's actually growing in value. So people are beginning to realize that Bitcoin and other assets are here to stay. The digital frontier is here. And it's a very exciting time to be investing in assets like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
It is. Look, I was at a conference here, I don't know, 6 months ago in Salt Lake. And one of the speakers came out talking about investments and so forth and said, Bitcoin is the greatest appreciating asset in world history. And I sat there for a second and I thought to myself, wow, it never had occurred to me until I heard that man say that. And that man is worth $100 million or more, a very successful individual. The greatest appreciating asset in world history is cryptocurrency. That's remarkable to me, Jonathan.
It really is. People don't even realize this, that right now as we speak, Bitcoin is currently the 5th largest asset in the world. So Bitcoin has overgrown Google, it's overtaken Amazon, and the only kind of 3 spots left, I believe, is Nvidia, Microsoft, and the actual gold market in terms of market cap. So give it, I say, 6 to 7 years, Bitcoin will become the largest asset globally worldwide. And when you talk about global and you look at global adoption, what's even crazy to think about is that we only have an 11% global adoption rate currently for Bitcoin. So that's the equivalent of the birth of the internet as we know it. So we are still in early stages for crypto and for assets like Bitcoin. We are in the infancy, so it's not too late for people to participate. And if anything, I would say this is an integral part now of a balanced portfolio, because what we're witnessing is one of the biggest wealth transfers in history that's currently underway.
Yeah, crypto is still in its infancy. Now, your company at BlockTrust IRA, you focus on 2 of the coins. You focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum, if not mistaken. Why did you choose those 2? Bitcoin, obviously, we've talked about, it's a tremendous asset. Ethereum, why these 2?
Well, actually, on our platform, you can actually purchase 60 different cryptocurrencies. So we don't just alienate anyone. But Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin's the digital gold. It's kind of the flagship. Ethereum is kind of like the gold and the silver. And when you look at the market cap of these size of these tokens, they're just absolutely tremendous. So when people invest in assets like Bitcoin, they normally do what we call a buy and hold strategy. Now, that may work wonders with an asset like precious metals. You throw it in the safe and you forget about it. But with an asset like Bitcoin, because there's no opening bell or closing bell, it's traded 24/7, 365, which means if you're asleep, something could happen. It could affect the markets drastically, positively or negatively. And if it goes down, you know, it's a wild ride in cryptocurrency, and particularly assets like Bitcoin, where we've seen it drop over 50% 8 times during its history. Now, I think these volatility drops are going to become less and less with full adoption and less coins and tokens on the market. But my point being is, if you're in a buy and hold strategy in crypto, in my personal opinion and what I've seen, you're going to lose the race. Not to say it's bad, but there's better ways to do this. So we were voted the #1 trading strategy by Bitcoin Magazine for assets such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. And what we're able to do is use very sophisticated AI to look at this volatility. We're looking at on-chain metrics, who's buying, who's selling. We're looking at price, technical analysis. We're looking at macroeconomics, interest rates. So there's very different verticals that we're looking at that AI, through very sophisticated methods, is giving us the right signals of when to be buying and then when to be moving that position into cash, let the volatility fly through us, and when that subsides, buy back in. And that actually does two things for investors. Number one, it mitigates risk, mitigates that drawdown. So you're not just on the buy and hold. And secondly, you're able to purchase back in at a lower price, which is my favorite thing, because now you're compounding. So the old way to do it is a buy and hold strategy. The new way to invest in crypto is through what we call managed accounts, and that's only offered exclusively through BlockTrust IRA.
I think this is remarkable, honestly. The way that we're purchasing these things, the way that we're controlling these things. It's like a science fiction movie, except that when it's applied properly, Jonathan, people can profit remarkably because it does trade 24/7. We were talking about this just before you came on. I mean, I'll be up in the middle of the night checking on something. Oh, where's Bitcoin at right now? You check because it's trading around the world 24 hours a day. You don't have to wait for the market to open or close. It's happening 24/7. And your Animus AI, like you said, #1 according to Bitcoin Magazine, because it uses AI to buy and sell cryptocurrency. I mean, that just sounds like a sci-fi movie, but it works for everybody. You don't have to be one of these elites. You can be an ordinary person, a truck driver, a teacher. You can be retired. All of these things fit now, don't they?
They really do, because the amazing thing about crypto, and President Trump is pushing this too, is you can put IRAs into cryptocurrencies. You can roll them over tax-free and penalty-free. And when people invest in crypto, people aren't traders. They don't want to watch the market 24/7, but they want some safeguards in place. They want some safety rails in place to make sure that if you're in a volatile market, that you can be prepared for any dips that are out there and then take advantage of those dips where they actually become profit opportunities. And when you look at crypto and you look at the world today, you know, data is the new oil. Everything is data, data, data. So there's so much data out there, especially because crypto is now a global market. As I mentioned, no opening bell or closing bell. You want to be able to take this data to the nanosecond and make split decisions before the retail market reacts. And we do this very successfully. And that's how we beat the buy and hold strategy, the old-fashioned way.
And I love it. That's why I endorse it. I love it. It's the #1 crypto tech platform by Bitcoin Magazine, BlockTrust IRA. Here's what I'm going to offer you guys right now. You go to stevegrubercrypto.com. You can get up to $2,500 in bonus crypto. Jonathan Rose, he has created this system. He's helped to perfect it, and we're on our way to a new place where ordinary folks like me, because I do now own crypto, and we're on our way. Jonathan Rose, I got to leave it right there. Thank you for the education, as always.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Greatly appreciate it. Again, guys, go to stevegrubercrypto.com. If you're not in crypto, you need to be. The biggest appreciating asset in world history is Bitcoin. You need to be part of it. stevegrubercrypto.com. Find out more. Get up to $2,500 in bonus crypto. I'll be right back.